everybody, welcome to another edition of the Atheist Experience. I'm your host, Matt Dillahunty. Joining me this week, Martin Wagner. Swapping dates with Jen and throwing off everybody who looked at the calendar there.
He did that on purpose.
Yeah, it was cool. We are a live public access television program. Today's Sunday, November 21st, 2010. I'll make the announcements as short as possible because we want to get to live calls. As a matter of fact, we'll get the number up for you. And for those of you who are used to watching the show, when we were in the smaller studio and before the shrinking of the show down to an hour, the telephone number's changed as well. Somebody's already found it because the light's already blinking. But if you want to find out more about the atheist community of Austin, the sponsors of this program, you can go to www.atheist-community.org. And in addition to this program, the ACA also sponsors an internet podcast called The Nonprofits. You can go to nonprofitsradio.com for more information. That's PROPHETS. We were live yesterday. Schilling joined us. He drove down and was here for other reasons, and he went to the debate between Christopher Hitchens and William Dembski in Plano and came down to talk about it. So yesterday's Nonprofits is exceptionally long. It's like a 2-hour and some change show.
Oh, okay. It's like one of the ones I did.
Yeah, so it's up there for those people who want to check that out. I don't know, we got technical issues already. So anyway, in addition to our media outreach efforts, the ACA also produces a number of social events throughout the week, including Atheist Happy Hour on Thursdays at the Dog and Duck, and a morning brunch at Romeo's, and a lecture series on the first Sunday of the month, etc. You can find all that stuff on our calendar and the sidebar of the main page of the website. And after this program's over, everybody involved tends to get together and go to Threadgill's. Everybody goes, not go. Threadgill's, 301 West Riverside Drive. I'm faster than the people who are putting up the little things at the bottom there.
That's okay.
The show's on until 5:30, and we'll be over there around 6 o'clock or so. Any atheist or atheist-friendly person is welcome to come to any of our events. You don't have to be a member to attend. But if you're coming down to preach, proselytize, or provoke, please don't. Just pick up the phone, which also starts with a P, and give us a call. And we can go ahead and put the number up for people. I know we got at least one person on hold. One quick announcement for people in the Austin area. We are restarting Godless Gamers in the very near future. For those who aren't aware, this is an activity the ACA used to do that we had to put on hiatus for a while because we didn't have a location for it. Where anybody interested in playing board games, and some of them are deep strategy games. Some of them are card games. Some of them are party games.
Whatever anybody wants to play, really.
Whoever shows up picks out what games they're going to play. We're going to start doing that again at our house. And what I need to know is if you're interested in doing Godless Gamers on Monday nights, that's when we'll be doing it. Feel free to give me an email. You can either use the TV at atheist-community.org. But it'd probably be better to use the president at atheist-community.org because that way I don't flood the TV list with people wanting to play games. So. Yeah. All right. Welcome, Martin.
Thank you very much.
All 4 lines are now flashing.
Well,
so
I think it's you've had a very busy week, and I think maybe some people want to talk to you about it.
Oh, I don't know. This is about something else already, but we can get started if you're ready.
No, let's do that.
All right. We've got Dan in Detroit. How are you?
Great, Matt. How are you?
Fine.
Good. If I knew Martin was going to be on, I would have gave my name as the King of Pimp. I had no idea he was going to be there. It was some show. Anyway, Matt, I was just calling to update you on something. A little while back, you had a caller. They claimed to have psychic abilities. And I think you and Jeff were hosting that day, and you told them to contact the James Randi Foundation.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, one night, just looking around, I was looking at the James Randi Foundation, and number 12, like under the rules to qualify, you have to be famous. You have to have a media presence and also a signed letter by an academic, so it's not open to the general public.
Sure. It is kind of, I mean, it used to be open to everybody. This was a change, and they changed it because there are just too many people that we're essentially wasting time on. Any Yahoo who claims I can, telepathically make my flowers sprout pixies or things like that. So this requirement doesn't really limit anybody. I mean, if somebody can actually do what they say they can do, it should be pretty trivial to get a news story done about it or some other kind of press. It's just because we have 6 billion people on the planet and we can't possibly expect them to, we want to filter out to the best possible claims, and those that have media coverage are the ones.
Yeah, agreed. Like if Yuri Geller came around again, as soon as they get that well known, Sylvia Brown,
Yeah, it doesn't have to be. I mean, you don't have to be super well known or anything. It's just the specific restriction is they must satisfy two conditions. They must either have a media presence, which means being published, written about, etc., in regard to their claims and powers, and they must produce at least one signed document from an academic who witnessed it. The number of academics who are willing to sign shit saying that they saw something amazing is overwhelming.
Higher than you would think.
It's the reason why we have all these, woo claims about alternative medicines.
Yeah. Because academia
I
pays,
imagine I could walk downtown and find a doctor that'd sign almost anything I wanted right now.
Academia pays so much. Appearing on Oprah pays a slightly different grade. Yeah. So
cool. But yeah, thanks for that clarification, because it's not like anybody can just call now. You'll have to actually do a little bit of legwork and make some kind of demonstration before you can fill out the application. So.
All right, thanks, guys. Hope to see you in a couple years. I'll make a trip down to Texas.
Great. Thanks, Dan.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. We've got Jacob in Chickasha,
Oklahoma.
Hello, am I good?
You're on.
Okay, cool. Well, I've kind of grown up in Christian society my entire life. I went to school at a private school in Norman, and now I'm in college, obviously, and I've kind of discovered this whole secular life, right?
Right.
And beforehand, I've been engrossed in this Christian culture, and I've had to kind of learn how to deal with other people differing from my opinion. And it's been a really complex friendship.
Well,
so I've approached this a many number of ways. Argumentation never really worked for me.
So I'm confused. Which side of the
that's what I was wondering. Like
friendship are you on?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm the atheist side.
Oh, okay.
And you're having trouble relating to Christian friends.
I heard you guys' thing about Skepticon and confrontation versus
accommodation.
Accommodation. And I'm kind of in between on this because I haven't really been exposed to a situation where argumentation really works.
Wow. Yeah. It's okay. Here's the best thing I can tell you, and that is when I have conversations with people on the phone here, it's one sort of environment, and it's generally dictated by the tone they take or how willing they are to have an honest discussion. If you watch, like on Tuesday, I did a formal debate at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. Thanks, guys. That was awesome. And that was a different forum. And so there was a different style there. There was no reason to, and it wouldn't have been productive to get anybody's face. I also have friends and family member who are theists of one stripe or another, or who disagree on something at some point. And there's a different style for that. I mean, the situation dictates what is or isn't appropriate. Now, my family, for the most part, we just don't talk about it anymore. And it's primarily because they're uncomfortable and ill-equipped to deal with the responses that I give. And so we just tend to avoid the religion subject pretty much as possible. I don't have a lot of close Christian friends outside of my family. There are a handful of acquaintances and there's a couple of close friends, but they're kind of liberal, moderate, nondescript. The subject of religion doesn't really affect anything about their life or our interaction. So how to do it, I mean, I find it very difficult to believe that I could be a really close friend with somebody who's a fundamentalist. There's just such a strict, what do we have in common?
Yeah.
And if you can find what you have in common, that's of course what I'd say build on.
Yeah, and it comes down to also a matter of if the problem that you are experiencing is that you're finding it difficult now to just converse with maybe friends you've had for a long time who are still Christian and you're no longer Christian, or maybe you're meeting new people in your college environment who are Christian and you're just trying to figure out how to communicate, and treat it like any sort of ordinary conversation. Start by asking one another questions. Just leave it as a very open and unthreatening exchange, whereas argumentation, you're immediately launching, jumping into some sort of, well, da 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 da. That may not necessarily be the sort of thing that most people would want to find themselves confronted with if you're like, whoa, hey, I'm just talking, right?
Yeah,
so,
you're totally right.
Yeah, so somebody, just so if you have a Christian that you know at school or somebody that you've known from your past, and and they're like, well, why don't you believe in God? And then you can answer, and then you can ask them, well, what is it that you believe that you find, and why do you believe those things? That's always, I think, a very good one.
I think that's a bit too direct, personally. I think that this needs to be a little bit more cloak and dagger. You need to be exposed in their daily life, and you kind of need to modernize them.
Yeah, and again, I mean, it's like it doesn't really have to. I mean, if it has to come up, if this is just a subject that they really want to discuss with you, then it's, as Matt said, your situation is going to determine how that conversation flows. I don't think that you should maybe go into these conversations thinking that, oh, I have to structure this somehow differently than if we were going to discuss, what was on television last night, or what happened in the news this morning, or what have you, if you want to make it a general topic of conversation. And that, I think, in a lot of ways, can create a very comfortable, neutral environment where religion just becomes another aspect of your life experience that you can talk about, in addition with other things. And
I try to treat it like a music discussion or maybe an art kind of thing.
Well, I'd be careful about turning it into something that's just a personal preference, like whether you like blue versus purple, because that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah.
In fact, we're
those
talking
aren't
about
claim issues.
the nature
but
of
in order
reality.
to make it non-confrontational.
I don't go out of my. I just pretty much approach things fairly honestly. I have some friends who are Christians, and we're friends. We don't actually spend much time talking about it. On the rare occasions when it comes up, I'm honest, and my friends generally appreciate the fact that I'm honest. They wouldn't be my friends. I mean, I tend to surround myself with people who can at least appreciate the fact that I'm not going to, pretend and nod my head along when I hear something that I think is BS. So, on the other hand, not everybody's like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if you're uncomfortable, again, about being the one to maybe cause offense or something, then just let them take the lead in the whole thing, right? Let them ask whatever they want to ask of you.
Yeah, respond with questions, and the kind of Socratic method is going to end up being more productive than many others in a lot of cases. So
yeah, and as long as the outcome of the whole thing is that they end up with the idea that regardless of your differences in belief, you're still Jacob, right? Then it's all good. And that's probably the easiest way to sort of defuse any way in which they may feel threatened. Or uncomfortable with just the topic, or uncomfortable with you because suddenly they realize, oh, he's not a believer anymore, and that makes him different somehow.
And
that doesn't really make you
change
different.
of perspective.
Yeah.
It can totally change the nature of the relationship.
Yeah.
And on that note, Jacob, there's actually another caller who may have another take on this. So unless you had a follow-up, I'll go ahead and jump over there and we'll find out what they had to say about this.
My last word is, wow, this is really quick how the dialogue is. I really wasn't prepared for that, but thank you for taking my call.
Well, I'll slow down a little bit, but you're very welcome. And part of it's because we're rushed because of the new format. So.